Here we go. Okay, guys. I'm Whitney. I am one of Jordan's level ones. I'm a senior silver, and I wanted to do this training with you guys. It's based on Mel Robbins' podcast, How to Achieve Any Goal in 6 Steps. And I think this for me is what lit my fire to actually do this. And number one, and number two, that I can do this. So I'm going to kind of go through the steps and give different actionable things. And then if you guys have questions, I might kind of ask some questions. So the first step is, what do you want? And I love how she laid this out because she said the difference between a dream and a goal. A dream you can imagine, it's a feeling, it only exists in your mind. Like you can dream, you get those feelings, all the things, but a goal is something that you actually do. It's something you achieve and it exists in the world. And so she was like, so many people have things they want to do, like writing a book was one of her examples. She said, sit down and think about what do you want? And she said the other half of that is, how are you going to know? How are you going to know when you get that? How are you going to measure that? Because otherwise it's not a goal. And that one hit me. So goals are not things you think about. They're things that you do. So they're actionable items. And step two, so I'm going fast here, write it down. And she was talking about, she goes, guys, this is so stupidly simple, but write it down. She said there's two reasons. So, first of all, it takes it out of your brain from a wish or want, and it grounds it in the world on physical paper. And she said it's kind of like being rebellious to the world because you're rebelling like where you have been and where you want to go. And she uses the weight loss example for this. She said, say you want to lose 50 pounds. She said, finally writing that down on paper is kind of like, screw where I've been. I'm going forward with this. We're making a change. We're going to be different. You put it on paper, place it where you see it every day. And what that does is it encodes it in your brain. And I thought this was really cool. I'm a science nerd. I'm a nurse. So your brain sees the info all the time, every day. And so you're telling your brain, this is important to me. It gets transferred into your long-term memory and it becomes something that matters to you. And she uses the example of, like, say you're thinking about buying a new car. And her perfect example was, I like a Ford Bronco. She said, so when you start thinking about, kind of like the Bronco, what do you start seeing? You driving down the road, you start seeing all these Ford Broncos. Or maybe your neighbor has one, you're like, oh, I wish I had one of those. Like your brain starts noticing what you tell it matters. So it encodes it in your brain. And she talks about how your brain filters countless information. Your kids are constantly talking to you, or their schedules, or your husband's needs, your own needs. Your brain is filtering all these things all the time. So if you place this goal on paper somewhere you're going to see it every day, not in your phone, put it on a piece of paper, on a sticky note, put one in your car, put one on your mirror, put it on your bedside table, put it where your brain's going to see it and tell itself, this is important to me and I'm going to do this. All right. And the other reason why it's important is it's going to remind you to do it, why it's important to you. It's going to push you to keep working towards that goal even when you don't want to. And she goes into this a little bit later. But kind of goes back into your why, like in some of our books that we've read about. Like you have to have a strong enough why to make you want to do the hard things on the days that you don't want to do the hard things. So if you write your goal down, it's going to help remind you to keep pushing through. And step three was find the formula. And I loved this one because you're not reinventing the wheel. Like she used countless examples of how there's a formula for literally everything. There's hardly anything in this world that hasn't already been done. She said, this is a great tool for AI. She goes, and for network marketing, shoot, we already have the formula, guys. We have IPA. We have our groups. We have all these testimonies. Like we have countless resources. The formula is already there. We already have it. We just have to do it. So, and the other thing, she talks about finding the formula. She said, you don't have to feel like you need to do it your own way. Oh, well, Jordan did it this way, so I want to do it my way. Okay, well, you know what? Jordan did it the right way because she's already at the top. So we need to be following what she's doing. And you know what? Our way is going to be a little bit different, anyways, because we are different people. I'm going to put my own spin on the same exact formula that Jordan uses every day. So every time you're not using the formula that's already been done, you're wasting your own time and you're wasting your own energy. You're stopping yourself from achieving your goal. So just do the dang thing. um, this is even for myself because I have a note on here like, even I need to go to YouTube and find what I need. Like, how many times do we like, oh, where is this or where is that? And I think that's where the confusion sets in for me. And you get this paralysis fear, right? Like, you already know what you want, you've defined your goal, and you maybe have the formula, but what do you do next? Like, so you go through those steps. So go find what you need. If you need more steps on the formula, ask someone or go find a YouTube video of like, hey, I need more training on how to do reels or how to do message reach outs or something. We have tons of leaders in Plexus that we can follow their footsteps in all of their trainings. And I preaching to myself because I need to go watch more videos and more podcasts. But she also like touches her let them theory. I haven't read this book yet, but it's on my list. But she talks about who cares if they think that you copied? Who cares if you're doing the exact same thing that someone else? Let them think whatever they're going to think. And this is where she really struck me. So I don't know how many of y'all know about Mel Robbins' story, but she begins this podcast and she's like, I was $700,000 in debt, y'all. She said, when I knew what I wanted to do, I had my goal, I had it defined, I even had the stinking formula. And she said, I knew my peers had told me I needed to post on social media, I needed to get testimonies and post these testimonies. And she was talking about how it took her 2 years to actually follow through on that stuff because every time she went to post, she would either post it, and if she didn't get like likes or comments or something like that, she would take it down. And she said, I killed my own goal. And I'm sitting here thinking, I have struggled so much with this where I didn't think that I had a fear problem. Humble pie. I have really struggled with some of my posts of the whole thing of done is better than perfect, right? We're not looking for perfection. We just need to get it done. So if you need to go make a post, make the post. You're not making something that's going to appeal to every person. You can't make every single person happy or see your message. Like, God knows your heart. So you have to go post in reality that you know your reason why you're posting and you're doing that reason and you're getting it done. You can't think about who's going to react negatively to this or who is going to think like, oh, well, that wasn't quite scientific, or is that right? Or this is my problem as a nurse. I have several friends in my feed that are physicians, midwives, so many things that have so much more scientific knowledge than I do. And I really have to think through like when I post, and I need to quit. So I need to just go make the post and make it what I want it and let it be. Okay. So step 4, do the reps. Okay. And this one, y'all, I'm an Enneagram 7. I know we've touched on this. I like to have a good time. One of the things is when things get boring, I quit. Like, how many times, nursing school is a great example. Many don't know this, but I think it was my sophomore year. I was failing one of my science classes, okay, at this Christian school. And it was kind of like that come to Jesus moment of, am I going to retake this class and spend another semester behind? Or maybe I should just switch my major. I went home on break and had the conversation with my parents about, I think I want to do elementary education. Like, I'm a good teacher. I could do more of this and it's a little bit more fun and da 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 da. My dad was like, here's the thing though. He said, you think about nurses, they do a ton of education. You teach your patients about procedures, you teach them about meds, you teach them about what to expect in the hospital. Like, there is so much education in nursing, okay? And he's like, so you have to decide what you really want. And in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, is this a cop out? Which route am I going to look back on this in my life and regret that I didn't finish nursing school because it was really hard? And you know what, guys? I sucked it up. I took the class over and I graduated with my freaking nursing degree on academic probation. I did not care. I was out. I was done. I got my license. I got my certification, all the things. So do it. You just got to do it. But her part of doing the reps is it's not pretty. It's boring. It's tedious. And for me, I need to hear that because if it's boring, I don't want to do it. I want to quit. So if we have the formula, you just have to follow the formula step by step. You want to treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. You want to treat it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business, but you have to put in the time and you have to put in the effort. It goes back to your why. And I love that Romy in her book, the what are y'all calling it? Goids, get over your darn self. It goes back to your why. It has to be selfish. If it's not truly selfish and big enough to get you to do the reps every single day, it's not big enough. And I've been working on refining my why reading that book because what it started with, yes, it was great, but it wasn't selfish enough. And so on the days that I am like really in my head about perfect example, yesterday I was talking to Morgan and I really didn't want to do that call last night. I didn't at all. I was frustrated with my kids beyond belief. They were driving me crazy. I was overstimulated. The last thing I wanted to do was sit there and work because in the last 24 hours before, I'd sent out at least 21 messages and I'd only heard back from like 4 people. So I was feeling pity party. And I was like, well, I don't really want to do anything else. I want a break. I worked really hard yesterday, throwing myself a pity party. And you know what I did? I talked to Morgan and I didn't want to bring her down with my negativity. And so I remember being like, I said something positive in our text message. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I'm not going to pull her down. So I'm going to make it positive. And we showed up on the call together and I sent out more messages and I got 2 messages, like responses last night. Like, so I didn't send out that many, but it's just doing the reps. I needed to sit down and I needed to do it. And so I'm glad that I showed up. I'm glad that I sucked it up and did it anyways. Um, and one thing I love that she says, doing the reps, it separates those of us who achieve our goals and those who don't. Simply put, she said, you will not follow these steps. If you can't get to step 4 and you quit, you're not going to hit your goal. Because if you're not doing what it takes to hit your goal, you're going to fail. And one of the things she said that you can do, it has a fancy term. It's called implementation intention. And it is writing, it's a statement, and it says, I will, okay, so I'm going to use this in Plexus terminology. I will send 3 messages today at 3 o'clock. That's it. You're just writing down what your immediate goal is, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. And I will post a story at 5 p.m. on Instagram. I will, whatever it is, maybe listen to 30 minutes of development after my kids go to bed. Like, you make it what you want. And here was a cool fact. She said, when you make a plan, 90% of people do the plan. She was talking about a study that was people were doing a workout program. And she said they had a group that had made a plan. They were going to walk for so many days and they made the plan, right? They had a group that wanted to do something. Okay. And then they had a plan that I think those were just the 2 groups. So they had people that just thought about what they wanted to do. And then the other plan, actually, they made them write it down and they planned it out. And she said, double the amount of people who made the plan actually followed through. So, and that was huge to me because how often do we sit down to do work and you're paralyzed with fear and you're like, what do I do? So what I've started doing before I did my power hours, I made my list. I sat there and listed out at least 20 people and I noted, these are dream teamers. These are business contacts. These are because I kind of know the format. You're normally reaching out to new people, you have people you want to reach out to business, and you have people you want to follow up with. So I start with a list. And then you go from there. Maybe you actually get back to people, maybe you wait until bedtime to get back to people. But it helps me to have that plan of what I'm going to do when I sit down to work. So maybe that's a podcast, maybe it's reading part of your book for the team call, whatever that is. Try to make a plan of how you're going to do the reps and when you're going to do them. The other thing she said, we naturally resist the reps. And so, two ways that she said we can get over this is another one of her books that I started reading, I never finished, but it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 move. And she said it's really stupidly simple, but she said if you have stuff to do and you know you need to do it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And you just do it. And she said the other one was based on this guy named Dr. K, and it's his research. And basically, it was saying when it's time to do the boring things, you tell yourself, whether it's out loud, you post it somewhere, I know I don't want to do this, but I'm going to go do it anyway. And that's really simple. But for my little 7 brain squirrely that's like, oh, this is a great time. I've got all this energy. I'm going to go clean the house. Or I really need to start prepping dinner at like 3 o'clock because, if I don't do it now, then I'm not going to do it. Like you waste your time. I'm so good at procrastinating. Nursing school, procrastinated so hard. My best papers were written at like 1:30 in the morning. Yes. So I know I don't want to do this. I'm going to do it anyways. And eventually she says your resistance to that thing will lower. She said, because you recognize it's going to be hard and you just learn to be okay with that. And you just do the hard things. And she was like, there's no shortcut. There's no way to make it easy. She said, if goal achieving was easy, she said, if you want to lose 50 pounds, if you want to write a book, if you want to be a diamond in plexus, if everybody could do that, they would have already done it. Like you have to do the work. It doesn't mean it's easy. You just have to do it. Sorry, I'm repetitive, so bear with me. All right, step 5, make it fun and easy. So if you have trouble working out, her example was lay out your clothes the night before. How many of us do that? I do that. If I'm getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying out my stuff because it's one less thing I have to decide in the morning. If you want to sit down, we talked about making a plan to do the reps, make your reach out list. If you are struggling like with confusion, I did this. Get organized. Okay, make yourself a binder, put all the things in it that you need, like customer care, message examples, a social media plan or ideas. Like, here's where I failed though with some of that already. It's you actually have to do it. Like your organization is only so good. And she even says, I can't find it. I thought I wrote it down, but basically like you're only as good as your own systems. Like you put systems in place to help you. So if you don't have a good system, if you are not making plans, if you're not writing down the stuff that you need to do, then you're not going to do those things. So maybe it's sticky notes. I know they've talked about like we did sticky notes this month, like for however our goals, how many new level 1s you want, how many silvers you want to do. Like that's all part of this stuff. So they've already given us, formula and how to do this, how to do the reps, how to make it fun. And the other thing, accountability, grab a friend to do it with you. Guys, look at what we're doing right now. Like I love these calls. These are one of my favorite calls that we do is just the smaller ones with just us that actually have like bigger goals. So anyways, we're doing it with friends, but plan ahead, make it fun. And that helps reduce your decision fatigue when it comes down to when I sit down to do this, I don't know what to do. Make a plan. And 6 is the easiest one, but the hardest. Don't quit. She says, you know what success looks like because you already defined it. So just do it and don't quit. And one of the things that struck me in this section, she was saying, there might be days, weeks, she said maybe even months where you don't do the reps. She said, you might get sick. I mean, I look at Chandler right now. She's going through freaking cancer treatment. Taylor Yutzi, she had a kid in the stinking ICU like a few weeks ago. Like, there's going to be times that you can't do the reps. But the success that defines you is when you come back. It's not that you're not doing it, but when you come back, that's your success because you're not quitting. And this is where I've come with my Bible reading. A year ago, when I started Bible reading, I couldn't keep up with the days of the year on the calendar like the plan had me do. I couldn't do it. And you know what? I quit. And this year, I haven't quit. I actually haven't read my Bible in the last week and a half, but at the same time, I don't have in my mind that I'm done yet. Like I moved my calendar up to the day that I'm on. And when I have time and when I prioritize that, I'm going to get it done. Same thing with Plexus. You have a plan, you're doing the reps. Maybe you can't do it for 2 days. Maybe you don't make a post. Maybe you just did stories. I'm 100% guilty of that. I don't get a post in every day. Sometimes it's fear paralyzation, if that's a word, but of not knowing what to do. But I still get my stories in and I still am working towards what I need to do. So I'm not failing. Like you're continually showing up to do it. And the reps are always in our power and our control. So many things about this business are not. We can't make a person sign up. We can't make a person see the value in our products. We can't make a person see that this business could change their life. They can't always see the opportunity, but we do. And so we keep doing the reps. And normally, she said, anytime that you achieve your goal, it's a story of perseverance. Think about mentors in your life or famous people, whether it's, I don't even want to say a politician, but why they come to mind, I have no idea. But like preachers, like Jordan and Zach, like, gosh, even now, my husband does not come home until 7:30, 8 o'clock almost every night. He leaves at 8 in the morning. He's a salary paid job. He's overworked, underpaid, and he's about to join Plexus with me. He already does the products. He's already lost 10 pounds. He already loves it. He already knows marketing, and he's a freaking graphic designer and project manager. Like, he's baller. He's going to do this. And I look at this and I'm like, this is going to change our life. Here we are. And it's not easy. We've got 4 kids. We homeschool. Like, he's outside with my kids right now. He took the day off because he needed a break. And so here we are. Like, he didn't do it because I was doing this call. I was going to do the call anyways. But if you make it a priority, you're going to do it, right? Like, if it means something to you, it goes back to your why. It has to be personal and selfish and strong enough to make you do the tedious, boring, ugly stuff of what we do every single day. And some of that, there are days that I don't want to connect with people. I'm super extroverted, but I remember when Jordan told us to go join a group and find people that we have in common and add them as my friend. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't. I don't want more people that I don't really know. But you know what? I'm doing it. I haven't joined a group yet, but every single day I go through the suggested friends list and I'm like, they look decent. Let's add friend. That's where I'm at because you have to do something. So I'm persevering doing the reps. So, and then last but not least, it's the very end of this, but if you're ever questioning, like, why is this not working or what do I need to do? You're already in the formula. Go back to step 1. Look at your goal. Redefine your goal. Look at your why and redo it. Like, you're in control. There are so many things that you don't have control over, but you do have control over when you show up and how you show up. So there we go. That's all I got. It's a lovely like ending. What do y'all have to say? Do y'all have any like suggestions or comments? I've talked a lot, so.
I was just going to say really quick. I know you kind of touched on the let them theory. If y'all don't follow Mel Robbins on Instagram, I would do it. She has great reels and sometimes just like the snippet of what she has is what you need to just like kick your booty that day. Um, and so sometimes it's not even like the whole thing. Like if you don't have time for a podcast, just like pop in there, look at one of her recent reels, and it gives you enough context to be like, okay, that's what she's talking about. And she interviews different people too, which I think is really cool. And some of them really apply to us because they're like health ones. So I've actually done a couple of them where I've like put that on my story as her interviewing somebody and then put like the product afterwards because it's like, hey, these go together.
Love that. Okay, sorry. I'm just also looking at the chat over here. Sorry, guys. Maybe I should have paid attention to that.
Well,
Season
something you
get
said,
diffused.
I can't remember. I couldn't take notes, but it was something you said about like, um, it made me think of an analogy that I've heard. So maybe when I say the analogy, you'll realize what point this hit. But it was just talking about how you know where you are, and then you know what the end goal is, and you have to just be willing to go along the journey of it all. So like if you picture it's like an actual road trip, and the formula is always the same. You get in the car, you have to get gas, you have to drive this certain amount, but like sometimes there's detours. Sometimes you hit a you get in a wreck. Sometimes your kids need to go to the bathroom, like mine did in the middle of that call. So there's always these like things that are gonna like make you have to like edit or get a little bit more uncomfortable or change the schedule or the timeline or whatever. Maybe you can go a little faster because and so I just remember as we were going to Diamond, I always remembered that as long as I stay focused on my journey, I'm willing to do all the steps that all the people that told me all the people that came before me told me to do, but I'm also willing to get a little creative and be flexible inside of it. Then I'll make it. I don't know. Something you said reminded me of that. And so,
There was a couple of things. There was, I know I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then there's no shortcuts. If you don't do the reps, you'll fail. And then success is when you come back. Like, so when you're not doing it, you're not defined by not doing the reps. Your success is defined by you coming back to doing the reps. Was that it? Okay. So, yeah, y'all, this one was fun for me. That was the second time I listened to this podcast. I had to stop drinking my coffee this morning because I just got like squirrel. Like, I was totally like, let's do this. I drank my pink drink and I finished it before, but I took a shower and I'm like blasting on this Soundcore speaker. And I just remember I told John, I was like, I'm hyped. I'm ready for this. But I don't know. It's just so inspiring to look at this and be like, is it really this simple? And most of the things in life like that are. And she even says, finding the formula, like most formulas are simple. It's just a matter of actually doing the dadgum thing. So it was encouraging to hear that it took her 2 years, y'all, to post on social media because she was so dang scared. She was looking at herself like, I have $700,000 in debt. Who's going to want me to speak on any of this stuff? Like, my friends know me. Like, they're not going to believe in me. And it's just like, that is so limiting. So I don't know. We got our girl Jordy. She fearless leader Jordan. She can help us cross the finish
fearless,
line.
but I do know that I have failed a ton and just let it roll off like water on my shoulder and just keep going.
Yes. So, do anybody have anything else? Was this good? Did y'all like it? Okay.
I liked it. I got a lot of notes.
Oh, good. I was like, hopefully it wasn't boring. Hopefully you were at least could relate to my like I don't
Oh
want
yeah.
to do that. So,
I still haven't joined any friend groups.
I haven't either. We're on the same page, but I'm adding new friends. So,
Oh, I'm adding a ton of friends. I started with, I think it was under 300 people when I started back in June. I have reached over 1,000 people.
go Laura.
See, the
So,
PA,
formula is the same. You have to connect with people and grow your network. So however you choose to do that, do that.
so
Mhm.
that's what I do.
See, we're doing it.
Whitney, thank you so much for doing this for us today.
You're welcome.
Super helpful.
Well, I hope it helps somebody. Hopefully that you guys are motivated to go either do a power hour or do something else. I got to do something now because I'm like,
I did not want to do the power hour last night.
but did you?
I did do the power hour last
See?
night, but I didn't because or I wasn't going to because it was Kendall's birthday and we were doing family stuff. And then I was like, I'm gonna go send some messages for 30 minutes. And he goes, okay. So I just went in the bedroom and sent some messages.
He was probably watching football anyway, wasn't he?
No, he
Basketball.
was no, he was just in there with the kids. Just him and Alex and Rachel. They like to play video games together. So Rachel read books to him while I went and worked for a few minutes. So
Dedication.
anyway, got it done.
All right, y'all. Well, hope y'all have a good Friday going into the weekend. Let's go do something with our business.
Oh yeah, last day for free shipping.
Yes.
And if they don't sign today, it's not the end of the world. But go do your due diligence.
Focus on your wins. It's that gap and gain. Don't look at
Right.
where you are. Look at where you've come from.
Yeah, super quick, Jordan. I know this isn't like questions, but super quick because you did make a post. Was your post today because of the free shipping?
Yes.
Cheaper than you get your product?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go get my kids down. Thanks, Whitney. Bye, y'all.
Bye.